You joined me in a spot where we've been before. This is where I started one of my videos while we were headed from Copenhagen to Los Angeles. Today we're not headed to Los Angeles. I'm taking a flight to Miami, but have a stopover in Madrid, which is where we are headed next, and then on to Miami, and then back up to Tampa Bay with a rental car where we got a bit of work to do and just end up living the dream just the way I wanted it. Stop for a second beautiful morning swim in an 84 degree water on Jupiter Beach. Now we're gonna go for a little drive up Jupiter Island just because it's really pretty, and then head on over to Tampa Bay and our part of town. That was nice. Okay, so here's what we're doing. We own that house, that duplex, that house there, that house there, a house in the trees over there, and two houses down the road there, next to each other. And as you can see, there's still a bit of water here, and you see the dead grass. That was what happened with Hurricane Idalia. And I got a bird right here. Little bird. Where the grass is brown, is where the salt water stood for a little longer, and the salt water kills the grass if it's on it long enough. But salt water got all the way up to these here houses. I have some pictures from just after the storm that I'll try to insert around here. Yeah, salt water got all the way up to these houses and all the way up the street. Like the street here goes right down to the water. And we had water all the way up to our houses, and the water actually went in one of the houses. So I'll show you how that one unit got flooded, and we're gonna have to do a bit of work there. And then I'll show you down here where there's a bit of stuff going on. So you see that pile there, that's just a tiny bit of, like, I saw driving over here, going back that way you get to a place called Hudson Beach. That was a lot of houses flooded, all the way up to Port Richey past my in-laws house, and then in Tarpon Springs where we have a house, also like a bunch of places flooded along the water. So the storm surge was quite a few feet, and it went, the water came all the way from the beach, like past that corner, with the flooding, the surge, the storm surge. It came from the Gulf and pushed up the street all the way up, and to those houses we have up the road that I just showed you. And then also these two houses here that we own and have rented had water coming all the way up to them. These are actually the first two houses we bought here. They're in here. That one and that one. And then on that one, the tenant said she was standing at her porch. Her porch is like right there. And looking at her step, and the water came all the way up from the beach in over here and right up to her step, and it was like that far from going in the house, but it didn't. So these houses are safe. Those two houses up there are safe. And then the ones where I started this recording, there are 4 units, and 3 of them had water in them. 2 of them are cement slabs with block walls. So they just cleaned it out, and we've measured there's no moisture. We'll just make sure again that it's nice and dry. And with that, they're like safe and done. But the one unit where I'll have to do a bit of work now has a cement floor with tiles, but then wooden beams and drywall. So I might need to go in and change a bit of that and make sure it's dry, and replace some of the wood that might have gotten moisture on it, so we don't have any mildew growing onto it. And the title of this video was Living the Dream, and it's funny in a way because it's not quite the way I thought it'd be, but it's happening. When I was younger, I dreamed about creating a business and work where I had to travel all over the world. And I saw myself being some, big shot businessman, but this time it worked out funny because I am getting to travel all over the world for the businesses I own, but to do some pretty rough, dirty manual labor. Getting a contractor now with several thousand houses up and down the coast being flooded is more or less impossible. So we figured I'd just go on my own and make sure, and also to make sure that we don't have any mildew growing on in the houses, so we get any liability issues later. So yeah, I got to go to Florida this time to do a bit of work. So it'll be a few intense days of hard labor, and then flying back home from Miami. But living the dream. I got what I wanted, just different than I thought, but I actually don't mind it. I kind of like working this way. So now, time to get to work. Okay, here we are in the unit that had water in it, and show you a few places where you can see how it went in. You have like here the particle board is swelling. I bet this is where the water line was. And then it sucks it up a bit in the ends. So I have this moisture tester. I'll show you. There we go. Which is nice because you can keep checking. So if you check like up in the wall, oh, there we go, wet. So it's wet further down on the wall, but dry further up. But not enough to where it's the solid wood holds a lot less moisture. And then this is actually building material. Oh, alright. 20%. So the plan is to take out a lot of these walls up to whatever point I decide on, and then rebuild it back in later with something else. It'll be very fun. But first, take out the lower parts and then run the dehumidifiers a bit longer, a few more days, to dry up the stuff that got water, and then build it back in and we should be good to go.
Okej Lars. Det är med skärmen här. Ja, nätet på högra sidan tror du.
Gotta show you my buddy's backyard. It's got one of the coolest pool areas. We just went for a long swim. Putting green back here. Fantastic landscaping. Okay, so here is where we are at. I have cut out all the bad parts in the kitchen. We're going to rebuild the kitchen with solid wood in the bottom instead of that particle board. Taking out the drywall. There's a little mold in some spots that we're going to treat the whole wall anyways, before rebuilding it in a few days after it's dried up. See, here's the mildew or mold to get dealing with. I might cut that board out too. And then in here, it's drying up real good. No mold or mildew in here, and the moisture is way below where it's any danger for mold to build up again. Down to like 14% in there. I'll the dehumidifier a little more till we're down to like 10% in the walls. And bathroom is the same story. Cut out all the wood and all the parts that were bad. And treated it for the little mold spots that were there, drying up nicely, and we'll build that back too. Whew, it's hard work, this stuff, but we'll get it. I'm glad it was only one unit. We'll get it dried out, make it nice again. Okay, time for a quick update. We have all these walls more or less dried out, and no mildew or mold. I had the walls, as you saw earlier, cut up about 4.5 inches on this solid wood. Had it all dried out. It's now down to like 10% underneath. So I'm not going to seal it up with caulk or anything yet, but I put some nice new plastic trim up, having a few inches with just plastic down to the ground, meaning we can have water in there without hurting anything or needing to rebuild it again. The bathroom, I put in the new vanity, and then still waiting for it to dry up a little bit more, the wood that's there. I rebuilt the kitchen from the bottom. I'll show you more of that later, but I rebuilt it with solid wood instead of buying new stuff with particle board. And then yeah, it's all drying up real nice. That one is at 15. That was at like 40 yesterday. So run the dehumidifiers for a few more days before building the last bit in, which is nice, because I'll take a day off tomorrow. Coming along nicely. Time for a little update. It's still wet, too wet to be built in here. I have to wait a bit. It's better. Then what I did is build it in like this. A panel the whole way around, and then a trim piece on the top, and then down here I'll put plastic molding. Moldy rental unit to this. It's just like a few miles apart. Kind of crazy. Final touches, cleaning up the unit. The tenant decided to move out, which was good. We made an agreement a few days ago, but that left me with a bit more work, so I decided to repaint the whole unit and get some stuff cleaned up and figured out and changed so it's all nice, new and clean. And that's me over there. The white trim that I put up. I put the paneling up, cleaned the kitchen up, rebuilt the cabinets, painted, got it all in order, bathroom. And then later today I'm going to be showing the unit to some potential tenants. So ideally I get it rented, and it seems like we're going to get at least $200 more a month, 225 more a month is what I've advertised today, which made the whole trip worthwhile. Onwards. Just reading in text, that's the tenant saying, I'll move in and sign the contract today. So, all done. Turn the camera around and show you around. Here we are, bedroom. Living room. The new paneling, all done. I'm just gonna mop, clean the kitchen, oven, stove, fridge, everything's been cleaned. It's up and running. Bathroom. All I have to do now is meet the new tenant that I showed earlier, sign the contract, get some money, and then fly back to Sweden. Phew.
Så hur kändes det då? Ja, så var det.
And that's sort of the end of the trip. Living the dream sort of video. It ended up going well. I got back over here, I renovated the whole apartment, and then ended up putting a little bit more effort into those renovations in order to be able to re-rent it as the renter moved out. I got all the stuff done and then found new tenants and sealed the deal, got paid, and I'm back out of here again. In the rental car with my luggage, heading to Miami airport, and then going back to Sweden for a while. It was always fun with the living the dream sort of. I dreamed about doing business. Morning coffee in Tampa. All over the world, that just turned out to be a little different than I thought. Thank you for watching and see you next time.